And welcome to the Midday Show. I'm Jeff Everett. He is Mark Messina. It's our third day of the 12 days of giveaways. If Mark's head wasn't so big, you'd be able to see the wheel behind him that we've been spinning. It's elaborate. It's colorful. We should give I still can't think of the word. Remember I said to you we should give a warning before the show for when it spins for people who might have seizures? It's not what is it called? When Phoebe, if you know, let me know what it is. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. We just talked about this, and now I can't think of what it is.
Epileptic?
Yeah, maybe. No, it's not hypnosis. Welcome to the Midday Show. We're going to spin the wheel again. Just as a reminder, in order to win, you can like today's show. No, you can comment on today's show. You can share today's show. That's Mark's favorite. Well, it's his second favorite. His first favorite is if you hug the show.
Hug the show.
You can do one or you can do all three. Obviously, if you do all three, that's your best chances to win. Are you feeling okay today? I'm frazzled. I'm all over the place. You always use the word frazzled. I'm the frazzled one today.
Yeah, you've had a busy morning. I'm a little bit, but I'm good.
Okay.
It's Monday. You get back into it's Monday, and I don't know. It's a time. I don't know if it's just a time of year, time of life. You just wake up in the morning and you realize you have all these things to do, and you just don't have time to do them all.
Yeah. No. I have noticed that more so since COVID has. Let me rephrase that. Since the restrictions on COVID have let up. Is that a better way to put that?
Okay.
I have now noticed more than ever how fragile and how little time there is in a day. Because I think I was young enough before COVID that it was just like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow or everything else. And then COVID comes and then you have all this free time. And then afterwards, now it's like the jumping back into like everything's going on. So now I am very much like there is not enough time in a day.
Agreed.
I'm there with you. The question of the day, and again, the spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
If you have young kids, maybe earmuff them right now. How old were you?
All you have to do is say earmuffs. That's all you have to do.
Just trying to prove a point, Frank. I'm not trying to celebrate it. How old were you when you found out the truth about Santa? The truth in quotations. If you have a good story about how you found out, please let us know in the comments. I don't have a great story, but I told it today or on the show the other day. I'll tell it again. But I was in tears when I found out, apparently. That's how the story goes. I was pretty young. I think I was in kindergarten when I found out.
God, they just broke it to you.
Well, it wasn't them. See, that was the
I guess the part of the question should be, as a parent, when do you tell? Because that's
a good question.
You get that whole school age thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of parents that kind of hang on to it. They're like, I want I need the belief.
Yeah.
I need it because there's this dichotomy of parenthood. You want your kids to grow up, but you don't want your kids to grow up. And there's that.
Sure.
So
we'll dive into that. That's a really good question.
There's because they're afraid sooner or later, there's going to be discussions on the playground or in the cafeteria. Yeah. And, are these the best way to learn the things of life?
Sure.
So
we'll go through some comments here in a little bit and we'll dive in because I hadn't even thought of that. Like as a parent, how long I've never thought of the reverse end. I've only ever thought of as a parent, the fear of my kid finding out the truth. I've never thought of it from the parental perspective of what if they still don't know the truth and now they're, X age.
Well, that's the point too. And I had this discussion with my ex, you don't want your kid to look like an idiot. And kind of then they come home and they're like, why am I the last to know?
Right. No, it's I never thought about that. So we'll dive into that one too with the comments. That's a great question if you know the answer to it. A couple of some story stuff, some things coming up for us, some housekeeping things as well before we dive into the question of the day. The first thing we wanted to bring up, as many people have seen on the news, they've seen the tornado that ripped through, I guess Kentucky. We'll call it, I don't want to call it the Midwest, but it started outside of kind of Tennessee, Kentucky, and made its way through Western Kentucky. I saw the path of it. I don't know. I just happened to catch the infographic of where it started and kind of where it ripped through. Pretty incredible. What we want to do is we're setting up here. Our news editor, Carrie Pauling's helping us out. Jerry has reached out to some other lion publishers in Kentucky. We are going to set up a fundraiser to do hopefully tomorrow, if not the middle of this week. Where we're going to donate. We're going to ask some of you to help us out and possibly donate. We're going to reach out to a sponsor too and ask them to match whatever we can bring in. And what we're hoping to do is work with another publishing company in Kentucky.
Okay.
We don't want to necessarily do it. Nothing against the Red Cross, nothing against these other charities or the way these organizations work, but we'd like to do it with somebody kind of in the area on the ground so that we know the money's going directly to that cause, right, and then they can decide what to do with it. So we're reaching out to some other news companies, media companies, online companies, trying to figure out who the best is to partner with in Kentucky. And we want to try to give some money and try to help out. This would be a disaster any time of the year. There's something about just winter, the cold, right before holiday season, something even psychologically detrimental to this that is kind of like exponentially added to the situation.
Yes, I agree.
So we're trying to set that up right now. We've been reaching out to them. We've sent emails. We've made phone calls this morning, and we're trying to figure out the best way possible to set that up. So tomorrow or Wednesday, we will be asking you guys. We'll have the link. We'll have the fund set up. And we'll let you know who we're doing it through and who we're doing it with. So if you're lucky enough that you're in a situation where you can help out and you can give, please do that with us and the sponsors that are going to join us to help out with that.
Well said.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Did you see, again, you probably haven't really seen the news or anything around it. The Kentucky governor spoke this morning. They are over 80 deaths officially. As of 3 hours ago, they're announcing that they are over 80 deaths. And some of the footage, I mean, this is the most simplistic thing to say. The footage is shocking.
Yes.
It is very much, you see tornado footage and sometimes, you know, you talk about like, well, it missed this house and it hit that house and this almost, it just looks like.
It didn't miss anything.
Yes, it did not miss much of anything. They're actually talking about, I believe the town is called Mayfield. Okay. I hope I have that right. And they're actually talking about like, they don't think there is a town. Like there may not be a town to rebuild.
Right.
So it's not one of those situations where you talk about like, well, you know, we'll fix this up and we'll rebuild that. And they're literally saying like, there is not a town to be built here. And that should tell you just how horrific the situation is there.
No, I'm with you. It was bad. It was rough.
Yes, it was. So keep your eye out for that. We'll be back with that tomorrow as well. A couple of other things we want to talk about. We're always doing some video stuff here at North Central PA. Phoebe Freer does an awesome job for us. NCPA Media, if you didn't get a chance to check it out this weekend, do you know what a Krampus is?
I know what Krampus is because of being here. Okay. But I don't know the history and the whole story behind Krampus.
So we did a very awesome video. Phoebe did a great job. Brett Crossley's on the microphone here and there. And we actually have Krampus himself holding the microphone at different points in the video, interviewing people. Really neat video. They do, I believe it's a run of the Krampus. I'm blanking on the exact details of it now. If I can find it, I'll mention it. But for those who don't know, if you watch The Office, you know. See, that's why you don't know what Krampus is.
Okay, well, there we go.
Because the White Shrew was Krampus in one episode. So this is essentially, it's a horned, devil-like feature of folklore during the Christmas season who scared the children who misbehaved. So rather than getting coal, Krampus would essentially scare you into behaving so that you could get the presents or gifts that you deserved. Which is definitely scarier than your typical lump of coal, if that makes sense.
Oh, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. So if you get a chance, check out NCPA Media. Again, it was really, really neat to see. I have a couple of pictures here for us as well. Are you ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this. So this is Krampus.
I saw this, yeah.
Yeah. So this is what Krampus looks like. They do a run of the Krampus. It really is, if you've ever seen it, I know for some people like this isn't their style of Christmas. There really is a neat aspect to this of where like it's all good-hearted, like it's all in good fun. And they're really just kind of playing along with the folklore.
Some people would say the same about Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
You would not.
I just don't like dressing up. Like I would never dress up.
You don't like Halloween.
Krampus.
Whatever. Okay, go ahead.
I would never dress up myself as Krampus, but if you get a chance, remember I told you the streaming services, they do the different episodes like the Christmas ones. So if you get a chance, you can see the Office episode where Dwight plays like a Krampus style character. He doesn't really go like the full out mask and everything, but like he plays on the whole German folklore of kind of like being impish or nigh, right? Like good or naughty. Yeah.
I had a buddy who, before Christmas one year, put barely anything under the tree except he wrapped up coal and gave it to his kids.
Really?
And he's like, the kids like loved it, and they like took it and they were running around the house. And he's like, no, there's more stuff, and it just didn't have the results that he was looking for.
Okay.
But he was trying to be like, I told you needed to be good. I told you, and they're just like, they're like, joke's on you, Dad. We don't care.
So please check out the video on NCPA Media. Again, really well done. The next thing that we have coming up in NCPA Media, and we are excited about it. For those of you who have ever read the movie reviews, and
I like your use of plural in parentheses there.
Thank you. I actually didn't. I believe that was on the video. I stole that from the video blip. Yeah, so that was good. So I would like to take credit for that, but that is not me. So the other video that we have coming out shortly, we are very, very fortunate. We have Joe Smith joining on with us to talk about cinema.
You mean the guy who was first pick in the NBA draft that came out of Maryland that went to Golden State?
No, not that I'm not interested in his take on cinema. However, I'm guessing that our Joe Smith knows a little bit more about cinema.
Okay, could be.
So we're going to see. He was Maryland, right? Or did you say that?
I said that.
Yeah, okay.
He was a Terp.
He was a turtle. He wasn't a graduate, though, right?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't think he started. He might have been a freshman when he got drafted.
So
he didn't stick in the league very long.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think so.
I bet you 10 years. You want to bet lunch on it?
I already ate.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So again, we're fortunate enough. He did movie reviews for the Sun Gazette. We're fortunate enough that he's going to come over. He's going to do some video reviews for us as well. And he knows his stuff. One of the things that he did, he's a writer. He has numerous books. One of them was called The Best Movies You Never Saw, and it features over 300 different movie titles in it. He's selling at Autos and Amazon right now, and he's going to be doing a lot of reviews for us. His most recent one that he did, I believe he did 4 under-the-radar Christmas movies, and that's going to be coming out shortly. So again, we're fortunate. We're going to have North Central Cinema coming to us on our video platform.
The Holiday. I think I saw that one.
I've seen The Holiday. Do you like The Holiday?
I'm looking at the cover. Who are those? Is that Jack Black?
Oh yeah, that's like young Jack Black, like still like baby fat Jack Black.
Give me the quick synopsis. Do you remember the movie?
Yeah. So there's 2 women. They're struggling. Sense. So they switch houses. One lives in the country and over, and I think like
they take a holiday vacation.
Correct. Yes.
I've seen.
Jude Law's looking like Jude Law. And so Jude Law's so good looking, they let Jack Black be in this movie. That's how good looking they were like, Jude Law is so good looking, we're going to let Jack
they wanted
Black
the contrast.
Yes, exactly. Correct.
So okay. The Holiday. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Yeah. So we have that coming as well. We're excited. Again, if you've ever read Joe's reviews in the Wayne Sports Sun Gazette, he knows his stuff. So we're excited to be having him.
Well, we'll see. I'll judge that for myself. Let me talk to Joe. Let me ask him a couple questions. We'll see.
You and I said it would be Joe's very intelligent, and he has a history of cinema that, as much as you and I watch, like it's just not the same.
Right.
I can talk about baseball, but you have a history of baseball, right? That's what it would be like for you and I with movies and Joe. Like you and I watch movies, but Joe has like a history of watching movies.
That doesn't matter. I've got his opinions better be good.
See, I disagree.
His opinions better be good.
It is. So it would be interesting to hear, like, talk to him, because I think a lot of the things that you and I discuss, he would be able to delve into and build off and like actually answer a lot of our thinking out loud questions that we have.
Well, I'm excited. We should have him on.
So just a couple of things we have coming for you on video with NCPA Media. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us at NorthcentralPa.com. And again, you can find us at the Midday Show.
We might have a special video, partially starring me, a little road trip video, but The sound quality's not great because I did it with my phone because that's how you make road trip videos.
Yeah.
And it was windier than I thought until I watched the playback. So Phoebe's trying to clean it up and we're trying to see, but
Sweet.
That could be coming too.
Nice. So let's go through some of these comments. Again, the question today, how old were you when you found out the truth about Santa? And if you have a good story, tell us how. And then we'll dive into this kind of like we did with the movie stuff and the gift one. The gift one was good.
It's good.
You brought up that question, and I wasn't really sure how that was going to work.
No.
I think
you said, Mark, that's a stupid question.
No, I think I said to you it needs to be more open-ended. And then I think once we got it open-ended, it ended up being a great question. Really, really good one. So how old were you when you found out the truth about Santa? Before we get to that, Catherine's helping me out. Epileptic used to happen to me. So there you go. So when we do spin the wheel later today, just an epileptic, it can't be an epileptic warning.
I thought epileptic had to do with flashing lights. I thought it was the strobe.
Yes, but sometimes, like when you spin that, it does kind of
thing.
have a little bit of like a
that.
strobe effect to it sometimes. Tastes like good. Around 8 or 9, my sister and I found a cachet of Christmas gifts in my folks' closet. Light bulb moment. Did you ever find the presents before Christmas?
Never.
I never found the presents before Christmas.
I never. Ever. But now, in fairness, I never looked.
That's a good point. I never really looked either. When I'm going to say I was like 8 or 9, it was probably around the same age. I walked back and I saw my mom wrapping some stuff, and she kind of like shooed me out of the room. But at the time, it never occurred to me that like those would be like my presents. I just kind of knew my mom was wrapping a gift. But I do remember like walking in one time, but I don't ever, but again, I was really young when someone told me the truth. So I don't think I ever really went on this like proactive search.
Do you think that's one of the reasons that you're so like emotionally scarred to this day?
In what way? You can be emotionally scarred in a lot of different ways.
That's true.
8 or 9. What do you think, before we go through our stories, what do you think is the most common age we'll see?
I'm going to say right in that like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, something like that.
When does middle school start for most schools?
Around here, it's like 5th. Sometimes it's 6th.
Okay, so I would guess the number would be 8 or 9 because I feel like that jump to middle school is when I feel like in the elementary, you can kind of keep it going. But once you're in the middle school, kids are jerks.
Do you want to... Have I told you my story when I found out? Do you want to hear mine now, or do you want to read more comments?
It's up to you. You decide.
I was in 1st grade.
Okay.
I will never forget this. This was one of the talk about the aha moments of finding.
Yeah.
And I'm laying in bed, being the mathematical genius that I am.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure this, and I was like, and I remember my dad. I was still young enough that I was being tucked in.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was there. I was like, hey, I got a question. This doesn't, basically I was saying this mathematically doesn't work out, which is my polite way of not, spoiling. And he was like, I kind of asked. I was like, this is BS.
Yeah.
And he was like, huh? So that was a point too, that as a parent, when you think, your kids are bright and you're wondering when is their light bulb going to go on.
Okay.
And there's a point of almost disappointment when like, I could see the light.
Okay.
Why are my kids not seeing the light? Okay. So anyway.
No, that's a good point. While we're doing it, because I already kind of told the story, I believe I was in kindergarten. It might have been 1st grade, but I vividly, for whatever reason, remember kindergarten. I had a friend who I'm still friends with to this day. I had a friend tell me that the truth about Santa, and I went home and my parents tell me that I bawled like a baby. And they finally like told me, they were like, yeah, like this is what's going on. This is the truth. And that was kind of the end of it.
And you've been bawling ever since.
I've been bawling ever since. So I found out the truth I would guess that I was probably 5 or 6 the first time that like the bluntness of the truth hit me.
That was when you realized life was just this cold, cruel place.
Yeah. Because I've seen kids that like they're 12, and it's going strong.
Oh, I know.
It is. I mean, I was less than half that when I got bombarded.
When they taught you to swim, did they just throw you in the pond?
I do believe that's what happened. Yes. I don't remember the exact moment, but I do remember there was very much a sink or swim mentality to like learning that. Now I eventually took swimming lessons, but as a kid, there's a little bit kind of like toss them off the dock, like,
and then be ready to go in after them.
Yeah, I mean, you're always ready to go in after them. I mean, it's like you don't want to. You're not trying to like terrify the kid, but
no.
But you have to understand, like, the easiest. I mean, it is. We joke all the time, like, in the Olympics with swimming, like, you're really just surviving. Like, swimming is surviving, and so like there is a natural aspect to figuring out how to swim. Like, if you have to do it.
Yeah, but the people who don't figure it out.
I understand.
You don't get a second shot.
But haven't you ever seen like the babies who float and like they go underwater and stuff? Like there is a natural aspect to human beings and figuring out how to navigate water. There is. Like
I get it.
You can't, otherwise you wouldn't be able to explain like some of this stuff that like infants and toddlers
I get that.
do. So I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like they threw us in and walked off the dock. They just, they're just kind of waiting to figure it out. Let's do Debbie says 7. School kids tell all. I would imagine most kids find out from another kid.
I would think so too.
Do you think more kids find out from their parents?
No.
And finding out, or do you think? Okay.
Because I think it becomes important to parents.
Okay.
To protect.
Okay.
And
that's another good question: is are they protecting them?
Fair point.
It's another good question. Betty says she was 8. Karen says she was 7. Looked down the heating register in the bathroom, down to the living room, and watched my parents. So she actually saw. Assuming.
Wait. Watched your parents doing what? That could be. That could be a very disturbing.
Santa Claus.
That could be disturbing.
So here's a crazy one. Catherine says I was 3. My brother came home from kindergarten and said his teacher told the class that there was no Santa Claus. I remember crying for hours.
Okay, first of all, Catherine. All right, let's delve into this. You like earliest childhood memory.
What's your earliest
3?
childhood
Well, I'll
memory?
get to that in a second. 3 is early.
3's early. I don't know if I have one at 3.
Now, the reason that I'm not totally calling BS and why she might remember this is I would say almost always the earliest childhood memory is an extreme experience, either great or awful. So
mine is not. Is
so
yours extreme?
Yes.
Do you want to tell it?
Sure.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
This is how loving my mother is. My brother.
How old?
I was young enough that I was riding on the back of her bike.
Okay.
So 3, maybe.
Okay.
So my very talented brother, who's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, was riding his bike in front of us and smashed into the back of a parked car.
Okay. And your mom probably reacted.
Because it takes, only those at the highest echelon of existence ride their bike into the back of a parked car.
Okay.
So while he's laying there, damaged, my mom hops off the bike and puts the kickstand down and runs to him. And because, the kickstand, the bike's tilted, and I weighed enough that I went over. So now, as she would tell the story later, she's in the middle, like with 2 kids laying in the street crying. And
that's a pretty great story.
And some dude, oh yeah, it's great unless you're the kid crying. And then some dude, because I do remember that someone picked us, we got a ride home in the car, and she told us who it was, some neighbor, because I guess it was only like 2 blocks from our house, that some guy drove by and stopped and he knew her. And he's like, looks like you need some help. So picked us up and drove us home. But yeah.
That's a pretty good one. So you would guess you were 3-ish?
I couldn't have been that old because you get, like, you don't fit in those seats anymore.
Okay. Your story is way better. And this is the interesting side of this is I am the exact opposite of what you described, meaning your earliest memories are like traumatic. Because my earliest memory, and I've told this story to my parents before, and I don't know why it like stayed with me. I was at our house. I was not in kindergarten, so I had to be like late 3, early 4. And I remember like I was playing with Hot Wheels and I was dropping them down. We had it set up on the kitchen. Can you remember the tracks and drop them on the loop? And
those things were it.
And I was dropping them down on thing, and I got into like not even an argument, but my babysitter was trying to tell me my underwear was on backwards. And I vividly remember like telling her that like my underwear was not on backwards. And like that is my first, I do not remember a memory before that. That is like the earliest recollection of my life that I can like pull from.
See, now, if this story happens in 2020 and there's like Jeff, babysitter, underwear, somebody's going to end up on the news.
Yeah. But this makes sense, though, to what you're saying. Is a 3? If it was traumatic,
yes, that does.
It would align. That. Like you would remember that for sure. Karen says she found out.
A good big brother, by the way. Way to just rain on everyone's parade.
Who, me?
No, the big brother in her story.
Oh yeah, rough one.
Just come home and just rip everyone's heart out.
Listen, misery needs company.
He provided it. Well done.
Misery needs company. Mary would love to win. We would love for you to win, Mary. She was 8 years old. My mom told me because I was the second oldest of 7 and she needed help wrapping presents. Mom was a nurse and worked full time, so she was seriously time deprived. I was okay with it, but kept it from the younger siblings for years. Huh. I never thought
Whoa. Now, this is a different generation.
Yeah,
do you know how good 8-year-olds are at wrapping presents?
Not good. Maybe Mary figured it out.
Maybe Mary was given a job like taping she must have. I'll bet. Back then, they probably just said, here, go. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. Yeah. I mean, that's how my mom taught me how to wrap presents. And if you want to do it right.
If you ever look at A Christmas Story, like the bowling ball and a lot of different things are just like wrapped. It's like tissue, box paper. And it's just like, they just put it up, put a bow, and like it's done. So I don't know. Maybe there's an aspect to that too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She was put on staff. She became an elf.
Yeah, essentially.
In a roundabout way.
Way to answer the call, Mary. Heather says, I think I was around 11 by then. I thought it sounded impossible, so I just flat out asked. Yeah, I mean, at some point, the light bulb has to start clicking, like you said.
So Heather's story is much like mine, except I was 7.
Don't be mean. Don't be mean.
Heather loves me. Heather held me at gunpoint. She's the only adult that ever held me at gunpoint. Now, it was a prop gun, and it was backstage at a show, but I was held at gunpoint.
Facebook user says, pretty young. We used to be up in our bedroom when they would be downstairs decorating, wrapping gifts. We would listen so they could hear what was going on. Interesting.
I wonder how many kids throughout, like the parents think that they have, not just with this, but with something else.
Yeah.
That they have the kids duped and they had, and the kids are like, we were sitting upstairs listening. We knew.
Yeah, we've known.
I bet there's a lot more to that than people think.
I remember right before my sister was kind of on the fence. And so I would have probably been like 9 or 10. My sister would have probably been like 8 or 7. And I remember she was kind of on the fence. She was kind of starting to piece it together. So I slept in the living room with her the one night. Because like my sister was like, we're going to catch him. Like we're going to see it, everything else. And I remember we passed out. And to this day, I don't know how my parents did it. They got every gift under that tree without either of us waking up. And on top of it, that year was Space Jam was like the big deal. And my parents, God bless them, they bought there was a box. And this box was like 5 feet by 5 feet and it went up and it had all the Space Jam characters on it. And it was filled with Space Jam basketballs, filled with them. They bought the entire display and every basketball in it for Christmas that year for me. Unbelievable gift. What was really unbelievable was how they must have emptied the basketballs, brought the box in, and then 2 by 2 loaded. Because if we weren't sleeping in that room, they just would have figured out how to. So it must have taken them 15, 20 minutes just to do that one box of basketballs. And so it is amazing the lengths parents will go to pull it off. Kudos to parents.
It's amazing how loving and wonderful your parents were to you and you didn't turn out better.
You don't think so?
No.
No. Well, that makes me sad.
I will say
Cher
this, though.
says,
Kids sleep like rocks. You
Okay.
would be, they probably dropped things. They probably tripped and fell on you. Yes, kids can sleep.
Cher says, I was about 10, woke up because I didn't feel well, saw mom putting gifts under the tree. She explained to me that Santa isn't a person, but is the feeling of love and enjoyment of giving to others.
And you bought that.
Oh, come on now.
What a sucker.
Come on now. Let's see. Anything else? Ooh, fact check. Dwight was dressed up as Bell's Nickel. Similar but different character. So I apologize.
See, so you're lying to me.
I
You're lying
apologize
to me.
to the Bell's Nickel and the Krampus fans. I apologize for
So is Bell's Nickel like
distinguishing
the
between the two.
McDonald's to Burger King of Krampus? Are they the same but
If you're
different?
if you're an Office fan, I mean Bell's Nickel is probably way better than Krampus.
It's a funnier name.
It is. Leona says, love Jack Black. We love Jack Black too. We have a friend, like a family friend who's like, you know, those friends that like, you're not related to them, but they're at every family event. And so we have a friend and he is, I swear to God, he's Jack Black's twin, like down to the guitar and the voice and the hair and just the appearance. And I swear to God, he could be Jack Black. It's crazy.
And he has not capitalized on this.
He has capitalized in the fact like we all love him. Is that capitalizing off of it?
No.
It is tough to duplicate Jack Black.
I agree.
Very, very difficult. Thomas says around 7 or 8. Deanna says I was 6. Way too young in my opinion. Well,
somebody is still upset by this.
So let's
and
go.
it is
Oh,
Deanna.
yeah. So let's start because you brought this up at the very beginning of the show. When would you had 3 kids. What is the age where you would go, I need to intervene?
I always thought, I'm trying to think, about 4th grade.
Okay.
I remember to the point with my oldest, who is very academically inclined, and it wasn't Santa Claus, it was the Easter Bunny.
Okay.
And we kind of, I was basically like saying hello, and the
light bulb just wasn't there.
No, but it was so, because she was so like intellectually advanced for her age that she's coming up with all these scenarios of, I'm just like, no, you're missing it.
Well, so
you're missing it.
So there's an aspect to this too of if your kids trust you, there's a part of this where they can suspend disbelief way further than what you would ever expect.
That's fair.
I have a cousin who I want to say like she went along with it until probably 12. Like she was getting close to her teens. And like the whole thing was kind of like, why would you lie to me? Like why? Like I can't believe it wasn't the disbelief was not I can't believe Santa is not real. The disbelief was I can't believe you guys lied to me for this long. And so that is.
And then they're like, we thought you'd figure it out, you blockhead.
But there is that fine line of like if your kids truly, truly believe what you're telling them, it's tough.
No, I get it. Yeah. That's one of the other aspects of parenthood that is one of the great challenges is when do you lie to your kids and when don't you? And there are times, especially when they're super young and it's beyond reason, they're like, I want to go here and I want to go here. And there's times you're like, it's closed today.
It's closed.
And there's like, my mom. But then you also don't want to get to like,
you don't want to lie to them all the time.
Yeah, there's a limit to that. There is a limit.
My mom's favorite to this day was, it will be on sale next week. We'll come back. That was the famous line for everything, like anything that we were not getting. It'll be on sale next week. We'll come back. And then she was just banking that 3 minutes later you'd forget the thought ever existed.
Because you would.
Yeah, most of the time, yes.
You know
there
what?
were some things that didn't.
You know what is terrible to lie to your kids about?
What's that?
we're going
to
see
a
Young
Broadway play.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, we're going to Young
We're going to
Frankenstein.
see Young Frankenstein.
And then show up to White Christmas.
That is unforgivable.
See, you say how my parents were so nice and how, but then like there are these
now I
moments
see
in
it.
my
Yes,
life.
I see those moments of scarring.
Thank you. This one's interesting too. I don't remember how, like, to me, it's the first, traumatic's too serious of a word. To me, I would imagine for most kids, it is the first seeing behind the curtain moment. And so I find that, to me, most kids would remember that. I'm fascinated by the people who don't, because I feel like that's a very big moment.
It's like
Wizard of Oz.
It's almost a
reveal.
rite of passage-ish. Like now I'm to this point in life where, no, I'm with you on that. That is
interesting.
Wonder if my kids remember.
Cher says, "Hey guys, I don't see any Clark Griswold on that overlay. We will get there. Trust me. You're almost not going to be able to see Mark and I after the."
And that's what she's waiting for. Yes. Clearly, she's like, "I want you guys blacked out."
Now, this is another great question. This is turning into a good question. Amanda said, "Second here, I still believe. How many?
Because of Buddy the Elf,
maybe." Do you believe that there's a faction of people? Let me put it to you this way. I do believe in the Christmas spirit. And what I mean by that is I believe people are way more likely to do the good deeds that represent Santa Claus now than any other time. Does that make sense?
I would agree with that.
So I don't think people who necessarily believe in the aura of Santa are like completely off their rocker or just like doing it to be like hee hee ha ha. So I believe there's like a magic and a spirit to the season for sure. But how many, like 5%, 4%? Like how many people do you think really think there might be Santa? 3%? 2%?
You mean like when you say Santa, now I'm back to a person?
Yeah. Like no, like
0%,
like a Bigfoot, like a Loch Ness monster. You don't think there's 1%,
but there's not.
You don't think there's like a Santa Claus? No, like a push, like I don't want to use the word cult around Santa Claus, but you don't think
that would be a cult. No, but I get your sentiment of you know, like
things
like in the there's no such thing.
Can't explain. There are certain aspects of things that you can't. There's a giving and there's a donation and there's just an aspect of this where like sometimes you get and receive things out of the blue, and it's just the only way you can explain is that it's this time of year.
I get it. No, and there's it's like saying there's no such thing as Darth Vader. Well, sure there is. There's a Darth Vader. But it's a character that we've created, but Darth Vader is a real character. No, you're not going to walk down the street and he doesn't live down the street, but he still exists. In society, there is a Darth Vader, and everybody knows who he is and what he represents. So there is that element of,
But I would argue, so this is what I would say. There isn't a folklore behind Darth Vader.
There isn't?
I don't think so. Like, he's a phenomenal villain and a great movie character, but there's not like this origin folklore through society where you almost, I don't want to say you feel Santa's presence, but there's an aspect to society where it lingers. And I don't think you can say that with.
And I get
characters.
that. I get that.
If that makes sense.
Is Santa's more famous than Darth Vader, but it's still so the world has a bunch of people playing this part.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to a bunch of schools around here did Clue this winter, and you have a bunch of kids playing the part of Mr. Green.
Yeah.
So it's similar. It's just this character
I think
has jammed itself into real life, whereas you and I walk down the street in our real world and all of a sudden Santa Claus walks by. And it's not Santa Claus, but then again it is Santa Claus.
That's fair. There's an element of realness in society around Santa that is not in Darth Vader
Correct.
or the character in Clue.
Because we won't walk down the street and get lunch next week and see Darth Vader. But there's a good chance that we go to the mall, or we have malls that exist, we will see Santa Claus.
But it's deeper than that. Because
Agreed.
I'm not going to walk in somewhere and no one's going to be like, hey, I thought it was Mr. Colonel Mustard and with the rope. But I could walk in somewhere and someone could pay for my meal and I'm looking around and they've already left. So there's I don't know how to explain it other than that. There's just an aura to it that if somebody wanted to say to me that they believe in Santa, don't get me wrong, there's a suspension of disbelief there, but it's a little more than believing in a movie character, I guess is what I'm saying. Because there's aspects in our society that kind of uphold and support it.
Did I tell you, speaking of the paying for things, did I tell you the story about when we went back to my class reunion, my buddy paid for the people's meal?
I don't think so.
So we go down. It's not class reunion. It was homecoming.
Okay.
At Susquehanna. So we go down. It's Saturday. Okay. We're at the football game. We're hanging out. We're at the bookstore. We go out to dinner.
Okay.
Couple, the family next to us. We're at like Haas's there on the strip in Selinsgrove.
Okay.
And probably 3 or 4 kids, maybe, family, whatever. And my buddy, who has done very, very well for himself, pays for their meal.
Mm-hmm.
With unbeknownst to us.
Sure.
Because you're going back to the salad bar and go back to the salad bar. At one point, he grabbed the waitress and said, wait, we're going to be out of here before they are. Wait till they're out of here and then tell them. So we stay the night. We're in the hotel. The next morning, we're in like Bob's Big Boy for breakfast or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting by the window and he's like, oh my God, the same family is coming in.
Okay.
And so on the way in, we're like, oh my gosh, those are people from last night. He's like, no, you don't understand. So that now he tells us the story. Mm-hmm. And now he's afraid it's going to be awkward if he sees them because they sat him right next to us.
Okay.
So we're sitting there and he's like, I hope they, and then he's like, oh my gosh. And the people are like, don't we know you? And now he's like, I hope they don't think I'm buying every meal for them for the rest of their life. But just of all the things, and maybe because they didn't have to pay to go out to dinner on Saturday night, they went back out to dinner on Sunday. I don't know, but not back out to dinner, out to breakfast. But
sure.
Anyway, so
I do the Dunkin' thing a lot. So I'll get the cup of coffee behind me and try to start the chain. Do you ever do that? No. Mm-mm. Have you ever been in the chain?
I don't drink coffee, so I'm in the Dunkin' line like never.
Yeah. See, I pick up stuff for like my girlfriend, like I'll get her a coffee on the way back. And so like those things, sometimes I get in the chain or I'll try to start the chain if I know if I know the person behind me got like a cup of coffee and a donut, like I'll say like get the person behind me. You never done that before?
No.
It's hard, I guess, like fast food lines and stuff like that, it's a little harder. Big difference between like a $3 cup of coffee and like a $20 meal, but yeah, you should try it.
But you don't know if it worked or not.
It's nice.
You never know.
If it kept the chain. Well, yeah. But it's not about the chain. It's just about the idea of like doing something nice.
No. Well, yes, but it is because you want to be waiting. You should wait next and be like, did you do it too? Did you do it too? Did you do it too?
Megan says 10 or 11. I think I found all our letters to Santa in my dad's dresser. Did your kids write letters to Santa? No. We used to, so our big thing going up through, and I kept doing this, like even like when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, just to kind of like, I think it helped my parents, but also too, there was like a little arts and craft to it, and there was a little just like occupying time. But we used
to. And they were trying to teach you to hold the pencil right.
We used to
hold the pencil very poorly.
No one ever tried to teach me how to hold. By the way, my handwriting is great.
It is incredible the way you hold a pencil that you have good handwriting.
Thank you. So we used to take like the Sears catalogs. We used to get like the Toys R Us catalogs. We used to take all the catalogs and we would, instead of writing our Santa list, we would essentially do like a collage of like our wish list. Like our.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we used to do that.
We used to have, my parents had a family friend that would come over and dress up.
Oh yeah.
He would show up at the front door and sit down in the living room and we would give him our list and then.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Because
did you cry on Santa's lap?
Did I cry?
Like, were you afraid of Santa?
Why would I cry on Santa's lap?
Well, lots of kids cry on Santa's lap.
Kids just cry. Kids are weak and spoiled.
Okay. Is that your official?
It was in my living room.
Is that what the meme's gonna say?
That's what the memes are. Kids are weak and spoiled.
Let's do this one. Share. I remember my mom telling me Santa wasn't a person with the spirit of love and giving to others. I was around 10 and caught her. Oh, I saw that one already. I apologize. George, Santa always put our tree up and put gifts under it after everyone went to bed Christmas Eve, woke up to the miracle Christmas morning. I have never heard of the going to bed without the tree, waking up with the tree on Christmas Day.
I've never heard that
That
either.
would be a Christmas miracle if you were a kid.
That's a lot of work.
It is, but imagine being a kid. Imagine being 6 and going to bed and there's no tree, and then you wake up the next morning and there's a tree and gifts.
Huh.
That's a literal miracle if you're a 6-year-old.
I remember this is one that whatever genius, like people, you'll notice people, what's good enough stops being good enough. And now they need to up the ante. And you get like Elf on a Shelf. That'll make Christmas better. And you see at the beginning, people are very creative with Elf on a Shelf. But when you talk to people who've done it, and after like 2 weeks of it, they want to bury that thing.
I will never do Elf on a Shelf.
It's great in principle until you've done it for a while, and then you're laying in bed and you're like, oh my God, you forget to move the elf, and it is awful. Did you leave cookies and milk for Santa Claus?
Yep.
Did you ever leave reindeer food in the yard?
No, never left reindeer food.
We did that.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Because cookies and milk for Santa Claus just wasn't good enough. Those poor reindeer are hungry too.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's great.
They're doing all the work. Nothing against Santa.
Yeah. So you got carrots scattered around. Do we have any carrots? I don't know. We got to get carrots because we can't. Like,
have you seen the big one of the boot prints? Have you ever seen the boot prints? So people get like powder, like sugar or flour or something, and then you take the boot and you walk through the house like Santa. So from the chimney to the tree, and you do the boot prints. No, never seen that. That one's pretty good too. I've seen people do that before.
Well, I remember that too because in my house growing up, we had oil heat. We didn't have a fireplace.
Okay. So how do you get in?
I was like, how's Santa get in?
You had to leave the door unlocked.
And they kind of blew that one off.
True story. My sister and I found a hidden bag, peeked into the very top of it, and saw something that said "No Peeky." And Christmas Day, we got a present game called No Peeky. Not sure what age we were. So that was how they found out.
How ironic.
Yeah, the No Peeky is very ironic.
I thought she was going to say that there was like a note that mom was ahead of them. It was just like no peeky.
So Charles asked a good question. Here's the real question. Do you think Christmas is more for parents or kids? Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You say that like you have a more intelligent answer waiting than I do.
No, I don't. I'm not a parent. I'm asking the parent if they want to go first, or do you want to correct me after I talk?
You go ahead.
I think be 2 and below, it is 100% for the parent.
Oh, absolutely.
100% for the parent. 3-ish, it becomes for the kid. I think there's an aspect of like once you get to like 15 or 16, I remember at 15 or 16, I just remembered thinking to myself, like, I'm so lucky. I'm so fortunate. Whatever I open up here, like, this is a great thing. And at that point, it was just my parents wanting to surprise me. So I would argue once I got to like 14, 15, 16, it kind of slid over to my parents wanting to like get the reaction out of me. Like, because they knew I was going to enjoy myself and all this stuff, but it really just like, could we get them? You know what I mean? Like, could we get something that might get his juices flowing? And so I think from like 3 to like that mid-teenage area is for the kids. Outside of it, I think it shifts to the parents. I say all of that as not being a parent.
No, I'm with him. And I would say for a lot of parents, it is all in like the presentation of what did I give and what did I, like you talked about for kids 2 and below. When you have birthday parties for little kids, one of the things that my ex and I always agreed on, if we had a birthday party for our kid, we didn't get our kid any presents.
Sure.
Because if the kid if they have 8 friends there and they open 8 presents, they have no idea who got them what. Sure. And they're not afterwards asking, Mom, Dad, what did you get me? We got you a party. Like, we don't need to get her anything. She's got this many presents. But you get people, when you're having a birthday party for a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, it's all about the parents. Because the 1-year-old and the 2-year-old and the 3-year-old doesn't even know it's their birthday and doesn't get it.
Sure.
So there's a lot of
some of it.
A lot of things with pomp and circumstance around your kid is just, graduation parties are purely for the parents.
Isn't some of it too, though, as someone who doesn't have any kids and you've had 3, isn't some of it the first time through, though? Because I know even talking with like my sister, there are things going through the first, because I have a niece that's 3, and then I have another niece right below her. And there are things with the first niece that my sister will do with her, and she'll look at me and she'll be like, well, we're not doing that again. And even though they have a kid coming right up behind. So I do think some of it is that first time just wanting the world, and, you know, and then I think maybe that fades once you realize I don't want to say what you're doing, because I don't think any of us know what we're doing.
Not really.
But it has to fade with each kid.
Well, and now, yes, and things get, I know as a parent and stuff like that, when you're passing out gifts to open, the parents always have the pile left.
Sure.
Like, because and you get to that age where you're like, what do you need for Christmas? And you're like, nothing. I don't need, like,
sure.
And you mean it.
Right.
And my mom yells at us every year, but then we get her stuff because we don't want her to sit there. But it's like I told my daughter this year, who is in college, and she's taking finals this week and she'll be home. And she asked what I wanted for Christmas. And I said, honest to God, all I want for Christmas is on Christmas Eve to have my 3 kids watch It's a Wonderful Life with me. And that's all I want.
Yeah.
And if I get that, I'm good. And so, yes, it does. But there is a selfishness now back as you talk about the ages and stages of life.
Sure.
Now Christmas is really selfish for me because it's one of the few times I have all my kids around.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very, very good point. We're going to fly through these, no long answers, because then we got to spin the wheel before we go. Let's see. Mary, my gifts today would put Martha Stewart to shame.
Nice.
Lisa, my schoolmates told me in 3rd grade, I came home and asked my mom, who I think was more devastated. Bah humbug. I never thought about the parents' reaction to the kid.
Oh, parents. Yes. Yeah. The parents who don't want the kids to grow up. Yes.
Yeah. I think I woke up to go to the bathroom and saw my mom putting the stuff out. I knew then maybe 3rd grade. 3rd grade, 8, 9 seems to be the trend.
When she said woke as a verb, I thought she was just like saying I was so woke that it's like I had to read it twice.
This is a good question. I do not know the exact background of this. There are people way smarter than me that would know the answer to this. Santa's based on someone from the past, right? No,
he's based on someone from the future. I was kidding.
That would be an awful plug for a movie. that was good. Yeah, you could probably, I'm sure there's more background on this, people way smarter than me. The story in Netflix just stole this for an animated one, but there are stories, like especially in Europe, of post people delivering messages from kids to a figure who would deliver toys. Have you ever heard this, like in folktale? Okay. So I don't know if I don't know the exact origin of Santa, but I do know like those folk tales exist. Like there's certainly a weaved fabric of the story.
You know what? And I just thought of this, and I don't, Carrie, our news director, told me a story one time. Because when she was a kid, they lived in Europe for a while. When her dad was like an engineer that worked for companies all over the world. And she told some story about, I want to say, midnight mass. Mm-hmm. And when they came home from midnight mass, they had the neighbor. So they would come home and like candles would be lit and presents. And I'm sure I have the story wrong, but the parents were in cahoots with the neighbor. Okay. So when they had the kids out and when they had the kids back, it wasn't necessarily about waking up in the morning.
Right.
It was while they were at church.
Yeah.
So maybe that's unique. Maybe more people do that than I know, but she's the only one I ever heard tell a story like that.
Yeah. No, that's the first time I've heard of that.
That's very clever.
I've heard of parents wrapping presents during midnight mass. So one parent goes to church, the other parent stays back. Okay. But it was never to open presents after midnight mass.
And this was just to set up the house. They're like, oh, while we were there, look, Santa was already here.
Okay.
So I think, but we'd have to get that. But that was very clever.
No, that is very, very clever. For all the bookish folks out there, I highly recommend Krampus the Yule Lord by Gerald Brom. Awesome Christmas story. There you go. It's a good one.
The Yule Lord.
My parents, did I say wrong? My parents did that every year for us. Nothing Christmas Eve, then bam, everything Christmas morning. That is crazy. I mean, to do the toy stuff in one night, let alone you're essentially doing Christmas in one night.
Are we talking about the tree and all that stuff?
That's what it seems like to me. My parents.
I did all when the kids were young. I didn't wrap anything till Christmas Eve.
Which that I get. I mean, that's a challenge, but I get that part. The whole to just go from like no tree and no lights and then it's just like, I mean, that would be. It's a heck of a night.
Yeah.
Impressive. My kids always left carrots for the reindeer. There you go. They felt bad Santa got so many cookies.
See, my kids do the same thing. Catherine, we have softy kids, I tell you. I mean, it's good, but it just makes a lot more work.
Makes sense. All right.
And then, because then you got to go out in the morning and like, you can't leave them there. They'd be like, oh, carrots, they didn't even eat them.
The outside aspect of it is what we like. Why? Like, first of all, why would the reindeer come off of the roof?
To get the carrots, because they're hungry.
They're hooked up to the sleigh.
Yeah.
I don't understand the reindeer. I get it's cute. I'm not saying it's not cute. I don't really get the carrot reindeer food.
I get it.
I think it's good that they want to feed the reindeer, but shouldn't the carrots be on the roof?
Yeah, but then how do you get them down?
How do you get them up? Are you just toss them in front and they don't run?
If there's snow, they would sit.
Then they'll go in this. I don't know. That one I don't really fully get that one. As a reminder, here's how you can win. You can like today's show. If you like today's show, you get a chance to win tomorrow. If you comment on today's show, same thing. And you can also share the show. That is the path of least resistance, as Mark likes to say. So you can do one or you can do all three. Make sense?
Heather's upset with me because I told people she held me at gunpoint backstage.
Well, did she?
I got a text.
Did she?
Yes.
Well, then
yes.
Sorry, Heather.
And here's the quick story. She was the stage manager when I was in the show. And the first night of the show, I went out on stage way before my cue on this one scene because I had to leave in the back. I had to run under the vom and I had to come back out. But I had to, sometimes you got to be in a hurry and sometimes you didn't. And the one time I ran out way too soon. So the next night, because there's a gun in It's a Wonderful Life when they try to shoot, the cops try to shoot him. So we had a prop gun. Yeah. So the next time I would have done it 2 days in a row. It's so funny how stupid you are. Like in the moment, I'm like, I got to rush. And I come running down the thing and I come around and she's like this. And if she hadn't been there, I would have ran right out on stage. But literally, it was so funny that we were laughing so hard that then I almost missed my cue on the other side because we were still laughing. But yes, she's the only adult that's ever held me at gunpoint.
The only one.
And it was a prop gun backstage. But
hard to forget a face of the only person that has ever held you at gunpoint.
Well, then, and you also realize that they don't think you're the sharpest knife in the drawer when the stage manager's job is to follow you around, make sure you don't go on stage too early.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Anything else before we spin? Again, you can you can comment, you can share, you can do all three, and you get a chance on the next video to win. So today's winners are coming from Friday's video. So does that make sense?
Correct. So if you like, comment, or share today, you can win tomorrow. I do want to mention that I think the Cowboys won the division yesterday. That is almost a Christmas miracle in its own right, except that our division sucks. Mm-hmm. And also, do you know scoregami? Do you know what scoregami is?
No.
We had a scoregami in the NFL yesterday.
Nice.
48-9.
Okay.
The Chiefs beat the Raiders.
Okay.
It is the first time in NFL history that there was ever a score of 48-9.
Why is that a scoregami?
Because that's what they call it. It's the first one ever. The final scores. It's like the fourth or fifth one this year. There were 12 last year. It's amazing that after all these years, the NFL's been around 100 years.
I know,
and they're still never in the history of football was there 48.
The longevity records just aren't that they're just not that impressive.
You don't think that's neat?
Neat is certainly a better word than impressive.
Well, it's like if you win the Powerball, you didn't do anything impressive. The ping pong balls came out. You didn't do anything special, but it's still pretty neat.
Has there ever been a score of 51 to 2?
Nope.
Okay.
And if it happens, it'll be the first one ever.
You see what I like? It doesn't. I don't know.
I think I saw the number. There have been 1,076 different score combinations.
Yeah.
That was neat. Scoregami yesterday, 48-9.
It's neat. I'll let you decide first. Do you want to do likes, comments, or shares?
Hugs. I want to do hugs.
We can't do hugs. You want to do likes?
Why can't we do hugs?
You want to do likes?
Yeah,
I'm not
let's do likes.
soloing out the hugs. Here we go. Here's the likes from Friday's
Can we
video.
make sure that the winner was a hugger?
I'll make sure.
Can we swindle that?
I'll double check it.
Could you see us? Could you see us in court? They were running a contest where they said they were taking anyone that was likes,
but they only
took the hugs. Throw the book at them.
That's some serious 21st century problems.
That is
right there.
Yes.
Yes. All right, here we go. We're going to take all the likes. We are spinning, and today's winner for likes is Kenley Hardy. Kenley Hardy.
That sounds like a hug. Oh, I forgot. We got new people on here. We should give the rundown.
We have,
let's see who wins first. Fresh Life.
Fresh Life.
$25 gift card to Fresh Life. We've got Tony's Deli. We've got Williamsport Moving. We've got the CDB store. We've got Scores. We've got Moon and Raven. We've got Willard's up here that we talked about last week. Willard's, the lots of leather, but all kinds of neat gift things. I bought, they have a great card selection.
Yep.
You ever been at, when you need a funny birthday card or something like that? Willard's has a great selection.
Okay.
So what else? Did I miss any? Fresh Life, The Break Room, Eat and Run Catering, Rainbow Carpet. We have Rainbow Carpet on here, so $25 gift certificate to Rainbow Carpet if you need any flooring or anything like that. It gets you on your way. So there we go. And Kinley won Fresh Life gift card.
Nice. Congratulations. What one do you want to do next?
Let's do shares.
Shares. All right.
So you know why?
Mix it up a little bit.
Because we can share the hugs.
All right, here we go. All the shares, I believe there were 26 from Friday. Here we go. And today's winner is Thomas, and I'm going to say his last name wrong.
Heim. No, Heim. Yep.
Heim. Thomas Heim.
That's a Matoursville name.
Winner.
We got a bunch of Heims.
Okay. What do
Eat
we got?
and Run. Eat and Run Catering.
All right. Good one.
There we go.
Eat and Run for Thomas. And then the last one, what didn't we do yet?
We did not do comments.
Comments. Here we go.
We should have one day. It should be the meanest comment, the most Krampus comment that you can come up with.
We could, if we announced it ahead of time, we could do a judge one where we judge you know what I mean? Like a judge winner. Did that not make sense?
No, I'm thinking of what we could, because one of my thoughts was,
who had the best comment?
Yes. But yeah. I was thinking of categories of comments, but yes, I'm with you.
Yeah, we could do that. We could announce that early one day.
So I went into brain lock there, but I was deep in thought.
So today's comment winner is going to be
Heather. I've held at gunpoint.
Held at gunpoint. Now, just to clarify, she did not hold you at gunpoint in the past week or so to win this wheel.
No, this was 2 years ago. And there were no bullets in the gun. Although, by the world we're finding out there, things are different. But no, it was the prop gun. And
all right, let's do it. Comment winner.
All right.
Did it hurt you? Does it hurt you that you're going to have to give this prize?
No, this is a funny story.
Does it sting a little bit?
It's one of my, all right, Williamsport Moving, because obviously, Williamsport, if you're not moving, you don't need, but it's sponsored by Williamsport Moving, but it's $25 gift card to Panera.
Nice.
So there we go. So Heather has a $25 gift card. It is actually when I give of my one theatrical community theater performance, it is one of the top 3 stories that I tell from the whole rehearsals, the runs, or whatever.
Okay.
Just because it was so funny.
Nice.
So yes, and
good stuff.
Because of that, not because of that, because she watches the show and she got lucky.
Yeah. So congratulations.
I think she should have to take me to Panera.
I don't know if anyone wants to take you to Panera.
They don't. That's why she should have to do it.
Congratulations to Kinley. Congratulations to Thomas. And last but not least, congratulations to Heather on being today's winner of the 12 days of giveaways. Just a quick reminder again, if you like this video, if you comment on this video, if you share on this video, you can do one or all 3. You will get a chance to win tomorrow. And we're going to keep this going. Anything before we go today?
No, I don't.
You guys have been crushing the likes in the comments.
But not the
crushing
hugs. We need more hugs.
So the hugs have gone up exponentially.
No, I was just going to say, it's my announcement to you guys and my announcement to me. If you're ordering anything offline, you better do it quick.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good call.
Waiting till next week will probably, and I've already warned 2 of my daughters. I haven't told my son about it yet, but I said this Christmas morning, expect disappointment.
Yeah.
So I've already broken that ice, and we are good to go.
Yeah. Someone in the comments asked for a Maxwell update, the FC Maxwell trial.
Oh, yes.
Let's do it tomorrow. We'll do 5 minutes on it.
Okay.
And I'll kind of update on the trial and everything, because we got caught up with this holiday countdown. I said I was going to keep us on it, and I lied, because once we started doing this, it kind of flooded the conversation.
'Cause you're a liar.
So, a little bit.
Has anything good?
Nothing bad. Again, I think there's so much going on. Like, you're just not gonna, if you're not actively looking for it. So the funny part, like, I'm coming in here, like, we're setting up the prizes, like, we're doing all this other stuff, and like, it's just not going to come up on Google News.
And they love everything. Like the Kentucky storm is great for the Maxwell trial.
Absolutely,
because it just covers it up more.
They're going to eat it up a little bit. So I'll update. We'll pick a couple of like smaller ones, like update ones for tomorrow, because we're probably going to bring up Kentucky again and let people know how they can donate. We'll bring up the Maxwell trial. And then if you want to talk about the Cowboys tomorrow, maybe I'll let you. I don't know.
Did I tell you this? Did I tell you my highlight of the season?
Mm-hmm.
I lost my Christmas card list. My address list. I had it on a white legal pad.
Do you have a separate address and Christmas list? Address list?
I made a list a few years ago. Like, I don't have it online. I don't have it typed up or anything. I wrote it out as they were going on, and I had it on a legal pad.
Yeah.
And I can't find the legal pad. Was in the same spot every year, and I can't find it.
You'll get to end the show. You'll get a kick out of this, because it kind of goes along with that idea of like a Christmas list and an address list. My grandfather, before he passed away, I remember one winter he was telling me they used to tape the cards up along the doorway.
We did that.
So there you go. And he used to tell me, he was like, when he got into like his like late 40s, 50s, 60s, you got used to getting the Christmas card every year. And he goes, every so often you wouldn't get one. And he goes, that was really the first time you would find out how like extended friends passed away, because there was no Facebook and there was no texting. And there was no. So he said, he goes, it was a weird time of year, because like you're getting these cards and people would tell you what happened that year, you know, like some random friend you went to college with or some relative that lived out in, you know, the West. But he said it was also this kind of frightening of like, I hope I get a letter from so-and-so this year. I hope so just that idea, you think about like how society's changed and the things we forget about. That was like a real thing for people, was like, you hoped you got a Christmas card because it just kind of let you know that they were still there. Like everything was okay and they were still alive. And
well, this will be the latest I may have ever mailed Christmas cards in my life.
So people will think you're dead.
For a little while.
It will be like December 23rd, and people will be like, oh my gosh.
And they'll be like, yeah.
But isn't that nuts to think like that was a real thing for them? Like if they didn't get a card from some, like when they would go through last year's cards and they would line them up with who they didn't get cards from, they would start seeking out to make sure that they were still
I think
alive.
In a simpler time, and when the world was so much, I mean, we say now how the world is so small because we're so interconnected. But back then, the world was bigger, but your hometown was small. Like, how many cards were you getting? How much interaction were you doing with people that from far? There weren't relatives, maybe a couple friends.
Well, for example, like he was in the Air Force.
Okay,
like,
that would be different.
They had lived
military guys would be different.
Air Force. They had lived in Texas. At one point, he owned a beer distributor. Like there were a lot of lines of connection where the Christmas card was like the one annual update. Like
but
it was the one.
They used to write notes in the Christmas card.
Yes, and tell you how
you did, because I think they were only sending 30 as opposed to now that people.
That might be true. I get your point there. The list. I wonder if people even had lists then. It was just kind of like these were the 25 people, and you didn't even really think.
Oh, my mom had her little.
She had her list.
Oh.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know if she had but the addresses. She had the address card.
See, I don't think they had a list. I think that every year they kept who sent them a Christmas card. And so when they would get out, you ever seen like the boxes, like the decoration? So they'd get it out and you went through, and that was who you sent Christmas cards to, just who you had gotten the card from last year.
You know what my ex used to do was to make like gift tags.
Mm-hmm.
She would cut up Christmas cards, not like the family picture Christmas cards, but the generic ones that you get.
Yeah,
because they were colorful and they were festive.
She'd write on the back side,
and then she'd write like, you know, to Jimmy from whoever.
Yeah, very clever.
And that was how she got the cards, and she would just tape them on. So it was, that was good.
Yeah, really, really clever. All right, anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you guys for watching the Midday Show. Thanks for being a part of the 12 days of giveaways. Again, like, comment, share this video for a chance to win tomorrow. You can do one or all three. Thank you to Weiss Markets and all of our sponsors on the board. Remind me tomorrow. Let's do like a 5-minute deep dive into our sponsors, and just kind of remind people, you know, to support them and just let them know what's all on the wheel.
Absolutely.
We'll do that tomorrow. And as always, go to NorthcentralPa.com for all of your local news.
Okay.
That's all you got for me?
That's all I got.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching the Midday Show.
Later.